would have been nice to have been offered a bag by my store, but it didn't happen. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today is a very exciting video. You might have noticed with my previous video that I put in the title birthday month. So it is in fact my birthday month. My birthday was just yesterday, so I'm not quite sure exactly when I'm uploading this video. So it may not exactly be yesterday anymore when I have uploaded this video. But yes, it was my birthday and I did decide to treat myself. It's a little bit of a YOLO purchase. The reason that I decided to go ahead and get it is because basically, it was my birthday and I had been waiting on my local Hermes store to perhaps offer me this bag because it was a waitlist bag that I put down back in October last year in 2018, and I was hoping that maybe that they would offer it to me around my birthday, and unfortunately they didn't. I mean, they could very well soon, who knows, and there may be a complete shock, but I decided, look, I'm just not going to wait on the store. I'm just going to go ahead and look for one in the resale market and find a great deal on one in a color that I actually want. And that is exactly what I have gone and done. So that is going to be the bag that I'm revealing today. But before we get into it, if you aren't already subscribed to my channel, I would really appreciate it if you would hit that subscribe button below and also the bell so you can be notified when I upload new videos, which is generally at least once a week, but on occasion I may upload 2 videos a week. Technically, this is not a genuine unboxing. Because I did buy the bag in the resale market, I wanted to make sure that I had the bag authenticated. I sent the photos that I received from the consignment store and I sent them off to Baba Baby. Baba Baby is a fabulous authenticator for Hermes. She is the absolute expert when it comes to Hermes. She is the one at the very top. If you want to get a Hermes bag authenticated and you want 1000% peace of mind, I recommend her. So I did send the photos to her. I did have to pay first. Her authentication fee for email authentication is 75 USD, but it is of course money well spent to have peace of mind. And she was able to tell me that there were absolutely no red flags. However, when the bag arrives, please send her a couple more photos so she could turn around and say, yes, authentic, guaranteed. I have kind of boxed it back up again so we can have the sort of effect, but I will include somewhere along the line in this video the actual genuine unboxing. Firstly, I wanted to tell you who I bought the bag from. So there is a consignment store on Instagram called Femi Authentics. I'm going to show her card here. Hopefully that's in focus. I'm not wearing my glasses and I couldn't be bothered to put in any contact lenses, so the viewfinder is pretty much purposeless to me right now. So that's her business card there. I found her because there were some resellers that I do follow and she kind of came up in my recommended as a reseller for me to have a look at. So I had a look at her profile, checked her out, and I'm quite confident in authenticating bags. I can authenticate bags just on images and I could see what she was selling was authentic. But of course, I always recommend peace of mind. So even I feel as though my skills in authenticating are great, I always still get my Hermes bags authenticated for extra peace of mind because you're paying so much for them. But anyways, back to what I was saying. So yes, she's on Instagram and this is actually the first time that I have dealt with her. However, I do know some resellers that are aware of her and they all kind of, they don't share the same inventory, but what happens in Singapore and Indonesia, they will have, like, someone will consign their bag and say, I want to consign my bag with you, and then they'll go and consign it with someone else as well. So they might have the same bag listed between 3 resellers. On this occasion, I found that Femi Authentics had a better price for the bag, and I must say, for the first time I've ever dealt with her, she was so sweet. She was, I didn't even say I wanted to go ahead and buy the bag. I just said, I'm really interested in this bag. Can you find out if it's still available? Yeah, I'd just like to know if it's still available because I think that her advert that she had for the bag was around maybe about 5 weeks ago. So she went and checked if the bag was available, but she also in the meantime sent me all the photos that she still had on the bag. Even another bag I was inquiring about, she sent me all the photos. Some resellers I have dealt with aren't wanting to send you any pictures of the bag until you say, yes, 100% I'm buying the bag, or even if you put down a deposit for the bag. So I found that she was extremely helpful, very sweet, was explaining to me like how soon she could ship the bag. Even when like the bag was on the way to her, she was letting me know. She let me know when it arrived. She took videos of the bag when it arrived. She even let me know that there was something slightly different to the bag than what the first photos were, and it was just a very minor thing that was no big deal whatsoever. So I found her to be very attentive to detail, very cooperative, very pleasant, very sweet. I will put her IG name down below here, and I'll also put her in the description box. So if you don't mind buying Hermes bags in the resale market, I do definitely recommend Femi Authentics. Now, she also did include a very sweet message for me on this card, because she knew it was a birthday gift from myself to myself. I feel as though when you are buying bags in the resale market, it is so important to also have a pleasant experience with buying the bag, because you're missing out on the store experience. You know, the sales associate unboxing the bag, showing it to you. You're missing out on all of that. And even though buying in the resale, that's pretty much irreplaceable, that kind of Hermes experience. So for me, like, yeah, it would have been nice to have been offered a bag and by my store, but it didn't happen. And now going about it, buying it in the resale market, I still feel very happy overall with the experience. Here is the bag here. So I've tied it back up again. Let's unbox this beauty. Should I do it slow and suspensefully? I don't know. I feel like I talked too much in the beginning, so perhaps I shouldn't. All right. Ooh. Oh, that's definitely not what we want to have an Hermes bag going crashing down to the floor. I actually just put like a mat on my floor now, so we have a little bit more protection. Before I had tiles, and when I dropped bags, oh my gosh, not good. All right, so here we are. Inside this dust bag is my new to me. This bag is like new, excellent condition. It's a 2017 stamp, so it's an A stamp, but it isn't brand new. However, the condition is fabulous, and I am totally fine with that. Totally fine. All right, let's pull it out. This is very exciting because this is kind of a first for me. Oh, look, here it is. It is an Hermes Constance, and it is in blue electric with palladium hardware. The reason that I say that this is a first for me, there's actually a couple things that are a first for me. This is my second Constance 18 bag. I have owned a Constance 18 before. I had one in Noir, in palladium hardware in Swift, and I bought that before pre-loved, and the reason that I had sold that bag was because the condition wasn't exactly as I thought it would be. It had quite a lot of scratches, and scratches on Swift on a dark color leather really show up, and the buckle was also very heavily scratched. It was also a little bit misshapen. So that experience of buying that, I wasn't all that happy with it, but I sold it and got my money back, so that's okay. So this is my second Constance 18 that I've ever owned. What is a first for me is the leather, Tadillac. I have actually never owned this leather. I am familiar with this leather. I know how it behaves. It is quite similar to Hermes box calf. So you see how it shines. It's got quite a nice shine to it. You can see my daughter in the background there. It's got quite a nice shine to it, beautiful sheen. It's very smooth. It's got like a glossy sort of buttery feel, but a glossy buttery feel, whereas Swift is just like a buttery kind of texture. And Tadillac is a finished leather, so this is fine to use a Cadillac conditioner on it because it's a finished leather. It's not unfinished like Hermes box calf. Hermes box calf is an unfinished leather, and you have to be very careful with that in the rain. We'll talk a little bit more about the leather and that a little bit later, and conditioning it and all that, because I do have some footage to include. So back to what I was saying, not only was this a first for me to own Tadillac leather, this is actually a first for me to ever own the color blue electric or any kind of blue Hermes color. So I am extremely excited. I'm very happy that I did end up going with this blue. There was another color I was looking at. There was actually another two colors I was looking at to buy, and it was rose pourpre in Swift leather. The other color I was looking at was blue Zeliki. I'll put it down below, and that is more like a oceany kind of blue. It's similar to blue Hydra, but just not as neon, and it's similar to blue Zanzibar, but not as ocean. Whereas blue electric is like a true royal blue. This isn't, I wouldn't know if you would say it's a true blue. Maybe it is. Like, you look at my blazer, and that's to me is a true blue. So I guess it's sort of a true color. I mean, it's a true blue that we are more familiar with. Perhaps on the primary color wheel, it's not exactly a true blue. The reason I did decide that I wanted a blue Constance 18 for a couple reasons. First reason being, colors in the resale market are cheaper than neutrals in the resale market, especially when it comes to buying bags that are at very most 2 years old. So I was looking at another bag in Oregon, I think it's called, and it was a like new bag. I believe it was maybe a 2018 stamp, and that would have been about maybe $3,000 or $2,000 more expensive than this. And that's because it was a neutral color. Even that was actually a really good deal, to be honest. That was a really good deal on that bag because it had rose gold hardware too. But if I were to say buy an Etoupe C18, Constance 18 in Epsom, I would have been paying at least $4,000 to $5,000 more, because neutrals in the resale market, when they're new or in excellent condition, are always much more expensive. So I knew that if I was going to buy in resale, more than likely I was going to get a color. But that's not just the only reason, was not just because of the price. I know that, you know, you're saving money, but I always suggest to people, don't compromise. If you want something, you should just save up, keep saving and go for what you want, because otherwise you might feel disappointed later on that you didn't go for what you wanted. But the other reason is because I wanted to have a blue colored bag, because I've realized more with my kind of neutral palette colors that I wear, like beiges, browns, those warm kind of tones. Blue really contrasts beautifully with beige, brown, like those real warm neutral colors, and that tends to be what I favor in my wardrobe, especially in winter, in like fall winter. So I know that this bag will go great in fall winter. And then in summer, blue still goes with neutral colors anyway. It goes with like those whites, it goes with the, you know, again, the beiges. It goes with those kind of colors that I wear, and I wear sometimes black florals in summer as well. So I knew that I have absolutely no problem wearing this bag with my wardrobe, and it's a colored bag. So I've got something that's completely different in my collection. In my Hermes collection, I've only got neutrals. So this adds something else. I'm gonna show you the bag. So let's have a look at it. We know that it's pre-loved. I'll get into pricing in just a second. So we know that it's a pre-loved bag, but it's in like new, excellent condition. Truth be told, I have actually already conditioned this bag. So you might see that there is a little bit, there is some scratches on the bag. They are hardly noticeable now that I've actually conditioned the bag. So basically all I did was get the Cadillac it's a Cadillac boot and shoe cleaner and conditioner, and you can use it on any Hermes finished leather. I do always recommend to do a little test spot, like somewhere in an inconspicuous spot on the bag, like, you know, underneath here or something like that, just before you go ahead. So that's how it looks on the sides. It's got perfect structure because it is in Tadillac. Tadillac is the kind of leather that does hold structure. So here we have the back as well. There is some light scratches on the back, again, hardly noticeable, especially after I condition and buff the bag. And now it's got a beautiful sheen to it. If I have any before photos, I will pop them up and include some after shots and see if there's any kind of difference with how it looked beforehand as to how it looked after. Back to what I was saying about Cadillac leather. It is a leather that retains structure, similar to that how Epsom behaves. However, the thing as to why I don't really like Epsom all that much, and I would much prefer a leather like Tadillac which holds structure, is because scratches on Tadillac, like you can see, even though they are there and they're hardly noticeable, they don't scratch underneath the color. They don't rip off color. They're like what we call a surface scratch. And a surface scratch generally can, depending on how deep it is, how much pressure you put behind the scratch, generally you can buff them out with your finger just by rubbing like that, like you do with Chanel lambskin, and they generally come out. However, when you have scratches like this one here, which is much deeper, it has more pressure to it, it still hasn't ripped off any color. It won't rip off color to the bag. That's when you need to sort of condition and buff the bag to disguise and blend the scratch. So unless I'm really pointing it out to you, you can't really notice it. Like, you might know where to look now that I've pointed it out to you, but generally to anyone else, you wouldn't notice it. So that's what's great about something like Tadillac leather. Holds a structure, but scratches don't rip off color. They will spar beautifully, and even an Hermes artisan would probably do the very same thing. They would be conditioning it and buffing it to really bring out the shine in the bag and blend those scratches in. With Epsom leather, the reason why I'm not that much of a fan of it is because when you scratch that bag, it does pull the color off. And even though it can be hard to scratch Epsom leather, something like this, Cadillac and Swift, because they behave very similarly, except that Swift doesn't have that beautiful shine that Cadillac does, and Swift doesn't hold structure like Cadillac does. Epsom, even though it's a little bit harder to scratch, only slightly harder to scratch, but when you scratch it, it's a nightmare. It's barely like a surface scratch. It pulls off color and you get white dots underneath. I had a Rose Japur Epsom. If I still have the photos, I will include them. If not, then I won't. And when it got sparred, you can still see the little dots where it had its touch up. So yeah, that's what's kind of annoying about Epsom. That's not to say that I wouldn't take an Epsom bag if it was offered to me. If the store offered it to me, I would probably take it. Kelly 25 and Cellier is one of my favorite size bag and favorite structure. It's more often available in Epsom, so I'll definitely still take an Epsom bag. It's just that it's just not my favorite leather. The only other option that I probably would have preferred is Evercolor. However, Evercolor is a fairly new leather, so there's far less of those in the resale market, more of Swift and Cadillac and Epsom. Now, let's talk about pricing. I think that's pretty much what everyone sort of wants to know. Now, I'm going to tell you that the pricing of a Constance 18 brand new in Australia in Swift leather is 12,200 Australian dollars. Now, if it was in Epsom leather, the retail price on a Constance 18 would probably be around about maybe 11,900, maybe 11,950. Swift is around about $300 more expensive than Epsom. I'm not quite sure about Evercolor and Cadillac, but I know that they are in that similar price point. The reason I'm saying that this is the retail price is because I actually paid less than retail. But the bag is 2 years old. It's an A stamp 2017. And after PayPal fees, because I chose to pay via PayPal, and then I also got the bag authenticated by Baba Baby. So all up, the total price was $11,994. It was under $12,000. So I pretty much paid less. I paid less than retail because I know that this bag would have been around about $12,200, maybe a little bit less, maybe a little bit more because it's Cadillac. But I'm very happy with it. It is hard to get Hermes bags, especially Constance 18s, especially Kelly 25, especially Birkin 25. It's very hard to buy them under retail at the moment because the small bags are really in. Nonetheless, it is still, you know, like paying, you're pretty much almost paid close to retail. It would always be ideal to be able to get the bags from the Hermes store, but it's just not that easy to do so. And it's hard, you never get to really pick your color. You'll get some options, or you wait list for one and then it might be a completely different one that arrives. So you kind of have to bear that in mind. And also the pre-spending generally required when it comes to buying a bag at the boutique. I still, of course, love Hermes. I still would shop at Hermes and buy the things I love. However, going through the experience I went through before with Hermes, and you would have seen it in my Hermes journey, I found that it could be quite stressful. And buying in resale does eliminate that stress for you. It does for me because I'm confident in the authentication skills of Baba Baby, so I know that I have an authentic Hermes Constance 18 bag. Now let me just show you what else the bag came with. So we've had a little look around at the bag and how it looks. I knew that it came with a dust bag. It also comes with the care booklet. So this was a full set bag. Sometimes in the resale market you don't get a full set, like you may not even get the box. You might only get a dust bag and that's it. But this was a full set with the box, and it's got the care booklet. It also came with the Japan tag. So this is actually a bag that did come from, like, the owner must have bought it from Japan. Is that focusing? So that's the Japan tag. People who have seen Japanese resellers selling bags from Japan would have recognized this kind of tag. It also comes with the Japanese receipt. Now, this is all in Japanese. However, luckily for me, I do have a friend that lives in Japan, and he was able to translate it for me and also verify the receipt and make sure it's a legitimate receipt. And he confirmed that Isetan that says up here, is actually like a department store in Japan. It's like a Neiman Marcus in the US, and in Australia we don't have department stores that sell Hermes, but in the US you would be familiar with Neiman Marcus. I believe that they have an Hermes boutique inside Neiman Marcus, and then in the UK would be Harrods, I think. They would have, like, so it's the equivalent of that. It's a big massive department store in Japan. Now, I'm not going to do any kind of review on this bag. We are not going to do a what's inside. We're just going to I'm just going to show you how the inside of the bag looks. So it opens up by this buckle here, and unfortunately with this kind of open and closing, it does tend to make these kind of H sides get scratched. So I am thinking about perhaps buying orange shield stickers. I've owned them before when I had a Constance 24 and they always peeled off. And I've had them before for a Birkin 25 and they always peeled off, but I'm just gonna give it one last try. Just one last try and see if it will last me at least 5 months. If it doesn't, I'm never buying them again. I'm just gonna deal with the scratches. So that's how it looks inside. It doesn't have the zippered pocket, whereas a Constance 24 has a zippered pocket. Because I'm not going to do any kind of review on what fits in my bag, I am only going to include mod shots of the bag. So the bag can be worn on the shoulder. I am 5'2" for reference, 156 centimeters, so a little bit under 5'2". I'm like 5'1" point whatever, 5'7", I don't know. So yeah, it can be worn on the shoulder. It can also be worn crossbody as well, which is what's great about the Constance 18. It can comfortably be worn crossbody on most heights, except maybe on, you know, ladies that might be 5'6", it might be a little bit too short. I'm not 100% sure because I've never been 5'6" in my life. I wish I was tall, but I'm not. There is also another way that you can carry this bag, but I am going to include some footage at the end of the video of how I tie a twilly along here to turn this bag into, in fact, a top handle bag. And so you can have the strap like that. It actually makes the strap a little bit shorter if you are like my height. And then that way you can just wear it on your shoulder and you'll have the twilly there to make it look like a top handle bag. But that footage of that will be at the very end of this video. So I think that's about all that I have to say about this bag. Of course, you will see me using this bag on Instagram. I'm going to enjoy, love, and cherish this bag for my birthday, my 31st birthday, in fact. Another shout out again to the seller Femi Authentics. This video is not sponsored in any way. I just wanted to, you know, say who I bought it from and really give her an applause for being such a fabulous seller and the first time dealing with her. And I've even recommended her to another friend of mine, and she's buying a bag from her, and she has said the same thing, that she's had a fabulous experience with her too. So I do very much recommend her if you are looking to buy a bag in the resale market. If you did like this video, then please give it a thumbs up. And otherwise, I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!